This program is brought to you by Pussy Magnets.
Put a midge on your fridge with a pussy magnet.
Oh, hey! Welcome, my lovely lumps. Or should I say lovely labs? I don't know, they're both good. I'm so thrilled to have you here in the Labia Lounge to yarn about all things sexuality, womanhood, holistic health, and everything in between. Your legs. Oh, cringe. I couldn't help myself. Anyway, I am your host, Freya Graff, and I am a holistic sex coach and educator and yoni mapping therapist. So basically, I make my living massaging vaginas and teaching people about sex. Yeah, pretty cool. So as you can imagine, we are going to have vag loads of real chats with real people about real shit. So buckle up, you're about to receive the sex ed that you never had and have a bloody good laugh while you're at it. Before we get stuck in though, I would like to respectfully acknowledge the traditional custodians of the land on which I'm recording this podcast, the Menang people. It's an absolute privilege to be living and creating dope podcast content on Noongar country, and I pay respect to their elders past, present and emerging. Now, if y'all are ready, let's flap and do this. Oh, is there such thing as having too many vagina jokes in the one intro? Whatever. I'm leaving it in. It's my podcast.
Don't panic, you're not broken. Your sex education was a piece of shit. Get your flaps out and pull up a couch. It's the Labia Lounge.
Alrighty, my labial ledge bangers. We are back. We're back for part 2 with the one and only Catherine Lyle. So if you haven't listened to part 1 yet, stop what you're fucking doing, for goodness sake. Jump straight back to the last week's episode where we laid down some foundational layers of knowledge that you're going to want to be equipped with heading into this episode. But if you are unable to do this for some strange reason, perhaps you loaded this up before you hit the road and now you're driving and you don't want to be a fuckwit and look at your phone while you're behind the wheel. So I will just give you a really short rundown on what the last episode was all about and on Catherine. So Catherine's work is with porn addiction, where she dives deep into the issues of correcting erectile dysfunction, improving sexual energy, healing mental health issues, increasing general energy levels, mastering sexual energy, and healing the neural damage associated with pornography use, something that we covered in more depth in last week's episode. So Catherine's a pioneer, a trailblazer, and a universally polarizing personality in the best way, I believe. And she's written amazing books. Her latest one, The Uncensored Threat: Losing Generations to Pornography, was an international Amazon bestseller. Hot damn. And yeah, in this episode, whereas last episode we kind of chatted about porn addiction and the science behind it, how it works in the brain. This time I want to actually tackle, the issues that we spoke about and give hope, give tools for navigating this, for navigating it with a partner or with yourself if it's you that is the one that has a porn reliance. Approaches for speaking to your kids or speaking to your partner about it. And I want to discuss how we can rewire the brain and undo the damage that habitual porn use has done neurologically so that it's not impacting us or our loved ones negatively anymore. Because I know last episode was a bit like, oh my God, it's so bad, this thing. And I want to just, reassure everyone it is possible to reverse the damage and come to a healthy place again where you aren't needing to outsource sexual energy by using porn to jumpstart the engine. And so, we're just going to launch into a bit of all right, what do we fucking do about this then? So welcome back, Catherine. Thanks for joining me again.
Thank you for having me. It was amazing last time.
Oh, it's so fascinating. I just love having these conversations, and I feel like they're not really being had enough, especially porn almost feels like something that people get their back up really quickly about and get very defensive about. And I'm really happy to be having these convos because I guess through my work and obviously through your work, we see firsthand the negative impact that it has and actually how fucked up and damaging it can be. And, you know, that's not to say that it's always super detrimental and bad and damaging and every single bit of porn is just like evil or whatever. Like, I'm not going down that path. But yeah, it can be more damaging than I think people realize. And then because we're not really told about the potential of, you know, side effects that can happen, it's quite isolating, I think. And then not enough people are actually admitting that it's affecting them or realizing that it's affecting them. They're kind of thinking, oh, my dick's limp and I can't get hard and I'm not feeling attracted to my IRL girlfriend, but they don't actually connect that with their habitual porn use.
That's right.
Yeah. So I'm wondering, how do you know if you have an issue with porn or like recognize when it has become a problem? If you have a partner who watches a lot of porn, like, from the partner's perspective, how do you kind of see the signs that it's maybe impacting them and that it's become a problem?
Yep. So firstly, I have asked every single client that's come in, does their partner know that they watch porn from the beginning of time? And the answer was always either no or she knows I watch porn. And then I say to them, does she know what you just told me? So the frequency, where you're watching it, how often you're watching it, what you're actually watching, and, you know, and then, you know, the sex parlors and the massages and does she know all of that? And they're like, no. And so I have not once met a man who has, so it's 100% across the board. This is being kept a secret. To the degree that it is, let's say. Mm-hmm. So some, you know, women will say, yeah, I'm sure he watches porn, or I've seen him, or, you know, I just assume, or yeah, he's pretty open about it or whatever. But I can tell you right now that he's not telling you exactly what's going on. The other problem with that is that it's not just a secret, but the secrecy of it actually adds to the addiction. So if you're doing something, let's say naughty or kinky or, you know, whatever it is that you label it as, then that creates more of a dopamine reaction in the body. So the secrecy itself, and I shouldn't be doing this, my partner doesn't know, or you know, I'm watching, you know, fetish and this and that, then that's when it becomes more of an addiction. The actual chemical reaction is higher if people don't know what you're doing. And that's where it gets, you know, more dangerous. So we're trying to encourage, you know, more women to have these conversations, because women are feeling very insecure. They're feeling like they're nagging if they ask, you know, and that they're needy kind of thing, that they have no right to actually question this, because it kind of questions, you know, their relationship, and, you know, why shouldn't they be watching porn? And like you said about the content, we never talk about content in the work that I do, because A, I want to sleep at night, and B, it's actually irrelevant, because not completely irrelevant, but mostly irrelevant, because ethical porn still does the same thing to your brain and your penis as violent porn. And this is where the argument will start to come in, of couples watching it together, and, you know, firing up your sex life with porn and only watching it occasionally. And, you know, that's all fine. If you want to, you know, spice up your life with an external thing instead of addressing why you need spicing up life, then that's up to you. You know, I'm not here to slap people on the wrists and come from the morals perspective, but if you're watching it regularly, it doesn't matter what the content is, then you're going to have the same problems in the body, the brain, the genitals, as someone, you know, that's you know, watching violent porn. Now, the violent porn obviously has a more detrimental, you know, damage to the brain, and also to the control panel of the personality, which is in the frontal lobe, and that defines your sexual control and your sexual urges and controlling, you know, behaviors in general. You know, so that's where that starts to come in, and people aren't getting, you know, that hit or that stimulus out of something, and then they're watching something more intense and more intense and more intense. They go down the rabbit hole, And then they need something more because porn is boring, if you can believe that. So then they're looking outside of their relationship to satisfy that hunger, and the brain searching for the next drug hit. So that's where the danger comes in with couples. What we want to see is people just talking about this all the time. Because if you've got a man who's got a porn addiction, and we'll just define that again in this episode as once a month or more, this is where all the jaws hit the ground and say, what the hell? And so watching it once or more is classified as regular, and therefore classified as an addiction. And that's, by textbook definition and all the things. Go back and watch listen to the first episode for that. But if there is a regular use and you have kids, right, not only is it affecting your relationship because she might be blaming herself for your erections, no one's ever talking about the erection issues, and it's the number one symptom of porn addiction. It's actually called porn-induced erectile dysfunction, and it's 100% of my clients. That's been the cause, has been porn, not the smoking, not the drugs, not the alcohol, not the age. I treat men in their 80s. It's not, diabetes, all the medications, all the things that we know that affect erections. I'm not saying they don't, because they do, but if you take away porn, the erections start to return. 100% of cases.
Wow.
Yeah. So the women aren't talking about it. The men are too embarrassed. The men aren't showing up in sex. I can guarantee you that, because I am a woman and I have been with men that watch porn and don't watch porn. And so they're not present. And if anyone's done any energy work or understands body work or any of that stuff, when someone's with you and when they're not. And they're either in their heads or, and this is why I wrote the book, because confidentially I can't share things, but the things that I hear on a daily basis, the women need to know what's going on. The men are all, they're not getting erections because they don't feel attracted, or they're blaming their erections on the ugliness of the woman. They're not telling you things, they're cheating on you. Like, there's a whole lot of stuff that's going on associated with this porn addiction that women need to know. And they need to start having these conversations. And we can, I can help you with that. I'm treating couples, we're treating women who have partners who watch porn. But most of the time it's secret. And when the women ask, the guys get, as you say, really defensive. And if there's nothing wrong with it, then why is everyone getting so triggered by it?
Yeah, totally. Yeah, when you try to take away something that is actually a dependency or an addiction, it's just like, woof, it's like trying to take a toy off a child. Like, tantrums ensue and blaming, and I guess because it's wrapped up in no small portion of shame. Like, yes, he would maybe on one hand be like, oh, I'm not doing anything wrong and this and that, but then I think deep down there would often be some shame wrapped in there, a little bit of insecurities around the erectile dysfunction that's been induced by watching too much porn. And so tricky. And feeling a little bit like, they're betraying this person that they love, and maybe they don't even recognize themselves or their own behavior, depending on how far along they've kind of gotten with that. There's a full spectrum. I mean, some people are leading completely normal lives, and then on the other end of the spectrum, it's just like completely destroying everything about their life, and so I'm hearing some telltale signs for a partner, even though the man might not be talking about it. Some warning signs might be that you can feel they're not present in sex or intimacy. They have issues getting or keeping an erection. Are there any other things that you could kind of look out for in a partner?
It's kind of it's the same as gaming and phone addiction. If you have a teenage child like I do, and you take her phone away from her, you're going to see what happens, and that's it's agitation, it's boredom, it's feeling like they can't focus or concentrate on anything else, and this is where the brain damage hits them. So it's the decision making, it's the focus, concentration, memory, controlling behaviors or controlling urges just in general. You know, being really, really super impulsive is one of the signs as well, because of all the chemical reactions and stuff that are happening in the brain. Lying is also, I guess, you know, that moral side of things. If they're, you know, they'll be lying about things to cover up their porn addiction for starters, and then, you know, porn addiction always turns into something else because the porn gets boring, and so they look for something else. And that's where men really struggle, because a lot of them refuse to cheat. And I hear it all the time. Well, it's better than cheating is what they say, you know. And I just say to them, but don't you want to be like fully connected, if not to this partner, to someone? You know, like is the relationship damaged? Let's look at the intimacy. You know, there's so many like little tree branches off porn addiction and toxic masculinity. There's Me Too, there's the sex trafficking, there's sexual violence, there's domestic violence. You know, so if you've got domestic violence in your relationship, that whole not feeling like he's connected stuff, you may not see that if you're not aware of what the difference is between someone who watches porn and who doesn't. Whereas I have that as a really strong foundation standard. I can spot it in a client, and I can spot it in a you know, a partner or whatever. I feel that this is where women are lacking skills. I don't know if it's skills, but awareness of where he's at in the moment, because a lot of them are not really connecting themselves sexually.
Yeah, or they might not have a point of reference. Like that, a lot of women might never have been with a man who hasn't watched porn and who has been truly present. So there's that coming into it as well.
Correct. And no one ever asks. And you know, people are 3 months in, 4 months in, and they message me going, oh God, I've just found out he's got a porn addiction. And I'm like, okay, so what happened to the bit of asking, A, for what we want, but B, just investigative kind of, you know, conversations, because we're afraid of judgment. We're afraid to hurt them. We're afraid to be hurt. We feel insecure about it. We're not really sure if we have the right to be, you know, funny about this. You want to, you know, you don't want to come across as judgmental. So the women are suffering before, you know, in this other way. The men are just going for it. And the women are left to kind of sweep around what's happening, you know, and just pick up the pieces, and they don't know how to react. They don't know what to do. They don't know what to suggest. And so that's where I come in.
Yeah.
With my cape.
Yeah.
The porn lady is my nickname.
The porn
Everyone's
lady.
got me in their phone as the porn lady.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, that's where I want to go with this, is like, how the fuck do you talk to a partner about this in a way that's not going to get their back up, that's not going to be attacking or shaming or judging, that's still loving, that's still, but also still respecting your own boundaries and needs, and being like, hang on, this is pretty unacceptable. I love you. I want to help you. I want to support you, but also this is affecting me negatively. Like, it's such a complex thing, because then, you know, the woman is usually quite wounded. There's that betrayal wound that's opened up, and the inadequacy, or the, am I not good enough? Do you not love me enough? Like, it's a very complex little concoction of emotions that arises from this situation and this dynamic. So can we start talking about how to actually approach a partner about their porn addiction, and then how to, and we'll kind of get into later how to actually start tackling it. Yeah.
So only a small number of my clients have, you know, had this miracle cure. They've found the porn lady. They're like, this is amazing. They've done the treatment, and they've got off it straight away. And they get so excited that they rush home. And I'm like, whoa, hang on a sec. They're like, oh, I'm going to talk to my partner about it. I'm like, oh, just wait, right? Because you're about to walk into a hornet's nest. You have no idea what's about to happen. And like, oh, but I'm over it now. I'm like, no. Not only is there the, let's say, sexual betrayal or the whatever, but it's the fact that you lied about it for 20, 30, 40 years, and there's always other behaviors that go with it. And, you know, someone who gets really honest wants to then admit they've been cheating and they, you know, all of it. Oh, but I'm cured now and I'm going to sort this out. And so I sat with another male coach, and he had a porn addiction, and we went backwards and forwards, and I was the woman and he was the guy with the porn addiction. And instead of being coaches, we were having a conversation, like, how would we actually write this up as a process? So everyone can find that on my website, on my blog. And I've just got it in front of me now, so I can just tell you. So this is for a man to approach a woman, because the women, it's a little bit simpler, because they're asking questions, they're not delivering information. And so I always guide women to be like, hey, do you watch porn at all? And it's kind of not casual, because you don't want to tiptoe around it, but it's more casual, right?
Mm-hmm.
And
informal.
And they'll look at you a certain way, and you have to read everything that you're seeing, but be like a practitioner, kind of stepping out of your body just for a second and observe what you're seeing, right? Because if you go in thinking, oh my God, I'm so scared to ask this question and I don't know what's going to happen and he's going to tell me yes, but you need to do a little bit of work around it first to think, okay, so what if he says yes? What am I going to do? How am I going to react? Am I going to get really defensive? Am I going to really shocked? Am I just going to drill him with information, more questions? So just check in with yourself as a woman before you throw the grenade, but you can throw it up into a casual conversation, or you can do it in a group. You know, every time I go to a bar, I've got 50 people around me talking to me, just admitting, because no one ever talks about it. So when you start talking about it, people start to open up. So you could say, do you watch porn? And then I ask them, how often are you watching it, do you think, in a week? And then that's it. And just leave that conversation to either unravel or close up or whatever. And then that's it. And then move on with your day. And then decide what you're going to do with the way they reacted and the information that they gave you. And then maybe say later on, hey, you know how we talked about, can we have a chat about that later on, right? You don't want to bomb a man because they'll get really defensive and they'll lie. Okay, so then we've got the other end of it, which is what I coach the guys through. And now the guide is online. It's very kind of, evolved and wordy, and people don't generally talk like this, but it's just a guide. And step one is, I want to honor your loyalty and trust, and I want to be responsible for my own actions moving forward. All right. So it's like laying the foundations. This is the outcome, or this is my intention. And then you say, I want us to have a conversation which is pretty difficult and sensitive for me, and I'm being courageous and vulnerable. So I'd love to feel safe in this. Right? So it's all about creating safety for both of you. When I sat on the couch with this guy, he was like, I'm just going to tell you, I've got a porn addiction and you can't be triggered. Like, whoa, I'm already triggered from you saying that. Wow. So I was like, you can't throw this information at a woman and expect her to just sit there, listen to you, not interrupt, not be triggered, not get defensive. We're talking about, this is a pretty big secret that people are unloading, and you don't know how the other person's going to react. So, we went back and forth and we found, a happy medium. And then you say, are you ready to hear something about me that may change the way you see me? All right. And by that stage, she's panicking, of course, but you just say, it's okay. But I just really, really, if you have any questions, I'm more than happy to answer them at the end, but can I please have the space and time to share and express? All right. And then you ask them, are you ready to have a conversation with me that might be difficult for us both? All right. If you get a no, back out of there straight away. Right? Whenever I say to women how you approach men, or men how you approach women, you just have one question, and it's a pre-frame, and all you do is say, would it be okay for us to sit down and talk about something later on? Do you have the time and space to give me? That's it. That's the question that you ask when you're approaching a partner. Because then they're going to say, oh, what is going on? There's no way, don't approach them while they're working or anything like that, because the conversation will probably happen right then and there, because you know what it's like. I need to tell you something later. Oh, no, you don't. What is it? Tell me now. You know what I mean? So you've got to be prepared for what's about to unfold on both sides of the fence. So you're asking them, and you're getting a yes or no. If you haven't noticed, I'm asking these questions of the woman. I need to know, is it okay if I step forward? And you want to get a yes every time. And then they say, I appreciate that you're going to feel upset, angry, hurt, confused, and betrayed. So in that way, you're acknowledging their feelings or their potential feelings before they even occur. May I please ask that we deal with that separately, as I want to honour your feelings properly, and right now I can't do that to an extent. I want to be able to open up and more in the future around this and other issues, and taking your anger out on me in this moment could traumatise me further. This is where she's going to get triggered, because this is where I got triggered. What do you mean you're going to tell me I can't get triggered? Right? So it's really important that that you read her language, that you pause, that you don't have this sheet in front of you kind of thing, or you can and say, I'm so nervous about this. I just need, I've got this thing online and I just need to prompt myself and just reading the body language, because if there's triggering at that stage, just address that then. Are you okay? How are you feeling right now? And she'll be like, just tell me what it is. Right? Because she'll be feeling like you're hiding stuff even more. And she's probably thinking the worst by now, which isn't necessarily a bad thing. And then you say, I'm committed to working through this with you, and I'm looking for solutions and actions that we can both take to improve our relationship and intimacy. And that may not happen at that point, but you can throw that in. And then at some point you tell them what's going on. I've been watching porn since I was 13 years old. That's it. That's all you have to say. And then the woman's going to, be relieved that you just built this thing up, and she's like, oh, because she often isn't going to understand what that means. And then you can say, well, look, when how I don't get erections all the time, I've done some research, and it turns out that that's why. And then you start talking about, like, do some research, by the way, before you launch this, and start talking about, those erections, and, how I can't concentrate, and I'm always tired all the time, and I'm shitty with the kids, and I can't really connect, and I've got anxiety and depression. I think this is it. I think this is why. And then I say, do you have any questions? And then just take it from there. So, we're diffusing the bomb before it even goes off, and we're honouring the woman. Sorry, I'm speaking like a man here, but we're honouring the partner, because it can be the other way around as well. So women can have porn addictions, exactly the same, just doesn't affect their erections, but we're honouring that space. Most people don't talk this way. Right, and we get that. So you're going to have to read this and write down, ask a question, create space, create safety. You could even have a safe word, where the person, and have the commitment that you won't walk off in the conversation. That's really important as well. Just promise me you're not going to walk off. And no matter how angry you are, and just, I will hold you. You can scream. You can cry, I will, but we promise that we won't walk off on each other. And if you need time out, then there's a safe word, and we just sit silently. People are so afraid, and they're so triggered, and people have PTSD and past traumas, and that's all going to come up in this conversation.
Yeah. So what about if the partner who is with the person with the porn addiction has sort of noticed that these things are really impacting the relationship, their sex life, intimacy, and they want to approach, just in this instance, it's the man, because the man is not the one coming to the relationship saying, hey, I want to talk about this.
Yes.
As a woman, how do you approach that in a way that's going to be loving and be received well? I mean, you can't guarantee it's going to be received well. It's probably not. But what's the best way to approach it and bring up the topic and just start to have a dialogue around it so that you can maybe work towards a solution together?
knowing men the way I know them, and in my own personal life, like I said before, that's the casual kind of informal approach, and just have that one question: do you watch porn? And then ask, how often do you reckon you watch it? And just watch body language and all of that stuff. If he starts to fidget and look around the room and panic, then it's probably more than what he ends up saying, but just not being on the attack. And asking, am I ready to receive this information before you even, approach? Because I even have clients that come in, they know why they're coming in, they know what they're about to talk about, and the form, they lie. And then 5 minutes later, once I've explained to them what porn addiction is, and we go through the neuroscience, and I kind of let them off the hook in that sense, because it's like, well, this is a drug addiction in your brain. They're like, oh my God, I'm not a bad person. And then they often say, oh, it's probably more than that. And I'm like, well, I kind of knew that. And so they're ticking boxes even in the professional environment for this issue that skirt around the truth. So just assume that they're both lying and they're both telling the truth. Like, you can't be attached to the outcome. Is what I'm trying to say there. I also have a number of webinars that I can share with people, and I often say to people, here, I'll send you this. It's on YouTube. Just sit down. Just ask them, are you willing to sit down and watch something? I've found this chick online. She's, talking about erectile dysfunction. I've noticed, and we've never really talked about it, but I don't want you to feel awkward right now. So you don't want to let them off the hook completely, but you want to create that safe space. If they start to freak out, just hold strong. Don't attack, just hold space. I can hold space with the best of them. I've seen men with colostomy bags. Men have lost their shit. I've cleaned up puddles of snot and tears. They've been in fetal positions. They're moving, they're shaking, their kundalini is activating. They're screaming and yelling and releasing all the trauma. And I just stand there and I just keep going. And when it first started to happen, I was guided, do not stop. Do not ask, are they okay? Do not, I'm not going to hug them, obviously, because they're clients, but they're naked underneath my hands and they're losing their shit. So you just hold space. You just keep going. You just keep going and you're going. Sometimes there'll be words you'll just say, it's okay. All right. So if you can just put yourself in a position of someone that works with men all the time instead of being a wife, I don't know, that's very difficult. You just need to hold space. And just hold strong but have boundaries for yourself, right? So if we're in a situation where we're talking about someone who is probably going to react badly, let's say, or violently, then be very, very careful and have boundaries. And that's why you just creep into it. Ask one question, see what happens, ask another question, then just, okay, thanks for letting me know. And then they may chase you up. Why did you want to know that for? What's going on? What's hey, would you be open to watching a webinar about it to see if we can improve our relationship?
I think that's so handy having, because sometimes if it's coming from you, it is just not going to land, or they're not going to take it on board, or it's too triggering, it's too sort of close to home. But if you do have a video they can watch or a book they can read, or just, I guess a little video on YouTube would be the most accessible and the most easy for them to just pop on, or you could just pop it on together, and then that could start a dialogue. And it's just so helpful to have those resources where it's like, it's de-shaming, it's normalizing, it's like putting it in layman's terms and being like, hey, it's actually like really common and here's what to do about it. And I think I was sort of reminded of a framework that I teach people when it comes to communication about crunchy things, or like conflict resolution. And often I coach people through it when they're wanting to talk about stuff in the bedroom with a partner that might be a bit awkward or vulnerable. And sort of reminded me of that when you were talking about going to your partner and bringing it up. And my framework's kind of similar. It's like, you know, first checking, is this a good time? Is this a good time? Like, you know, do you have the capacity for a difficult conversation, and making sure that you're not going to drop a bomb on them non-consensually when they're totally not equipped or not in the right space to have that chat. And then the next thing is like speaking about what you're afraid of happening if you bring it up. So being like, I really want to talk to you about this thing. I've been, you know, dwelling on it and thinking about it, but I'm really afraid that it's going to make you feel ashamed or trigger you, and it's going to push us further apart, and it won't, you know, be received well. And then you talk about what you would love to happen through talking about it. So you've said what you're afraid of, and then you go into like, but what I would actually love this to do is like bring us closer together, open up a dialogue around something that I feel really vulnerable about, and I know that you will too. And I just want to get on the same team about this and feel more connected and close and tackle it together. And then you say, okay, so I've noticed that you watch a lot of porn and you're having erectile issues and it's making me feel like fucking shit. So like, let's tackle this together. And you talk about the actual issue, but after you've sort of pre-framed
and the mankini, you start wrestling in the dirt, and you've got to be prepared. That's beautiful. You and I need to do some more work around this. We need to publish that. You need to be prepared to get down and dirty. Like if you're the type of woman that I hear about a lot where they're really defensive. Like, so I always ask the men, have you spoken to your wife about this? Have you spoken about sex to your partner? And I'll often say, how often does she masturbate? And they just go, I don't know. And I'm like, you don't know? It's like the simple little conversations are not being had. And so, you know, if there's women out there listening and you're really funny about having a conversation around sex, don't do this. Don't jump in there. There's some more work to be done first, which I'm sure you can do with Freya or myself, because you know, it's so important. I treat women as well, and have done for 15 years, but you know, just don't advertise it. We'll be doing more of that. But they get the same form as the men, and so it's really confronting for them. They're like, I have to ask them, you know, in the form, how often do you masturbate? Well, they either don't fill it in, or they start, I can tell when they're answering that question, even though I can't see the question, they start moving around in their chair. One woman even said to me, I'm not here for this. I'm not here for this. And I said, but if I'm going to assume you're not masturbating, it wasn't that she had to tell me that it was an embarrassing, vulnerable moment. It was that she wasn't and never had. And I said to her, you know, masturbation is self-pleasure, is self-care, self-love, self-worth, self-pleasure. And if it's not happening, it doesn't matter who you are, there's something else going on, lots of other things going on. And so it gives me, that question tells me that there's more going on than the anxiety that you just came in to see me for, you know. So I've got not loaded questions, but my form is, there's reasons why I ask everything. So if you're one of those women that really doesn't like talking about sex, you're just accommodating your man in terms of when you do have sex and it's not frequent, and you're not initiating sex and you're not comfortable talking about it, then please don't have this conversation until, you know, you are comfortable to a degree, and that you do have your boundaries. And like you say, you know, you know what the intention is and what the outcome, the lovely outcome you're looking for. Don't go in there and accuse men of things. You'll get a defense, you'll get a block, you'll get lying. And, you know, to be honest, I'd do the same. You know, if someone's going to just throw it as an accusation. So it's you know, baby steps. You just kind of walk it. You could be walking into the fire.
Definitely.
You know, both people.
Deep end when you haven't sort of learnt to paddle around with floaties yet. You've definitely got to just sort of ease into it, because communication skills are like no easy thing, and you can't sort of just take for granted that you have those. Like, most of us aren't really that equipped and haven't learnt good communication styles and techniques and tools and boundaries, and we've got our own sort of shit that we're seeing things through, you know, this lens of our own experience and wounding. So this is advanced shit, you know, and it seems crazy that having conversations is so advanced and so fucking difficult sometimes, but that's usually, like, people come to me for all sorts of stuff, but I usually find if they're in a partnership, no matter what they're coming for, or what issue they think there is in the relationship, we always have to go back to communication and starting to fix that piece of the puzzle. Because if you can't communicate about this stuff with your partner and it's, you know, uncomfortable for you or they're uncomfortable, like it's just, you're not going to get very far, you know? Yeah, well, I want to talk about how you can actually overcome this addiction and whether it's possible to reverse the sort of damage in the brain and things like that. I also wanted to touch upon ejaculation. But first, I wanted to slot in the segment, Get Pregnant and Die.
Don't have sex, because you will get pregnant and die. Don't have sex in the missionary position. Don't have sex standing up. Just don't do it. Promise?
Where I ask all my guests if they've got a story or an anecdote about how their sex education failed them.
Well, I didn't have any sex education.
Yeah, classic.
I was handed a book from the teacher's library, which my mum gave to me when I still remember the house, the couch. You know, I was in my pajamas. I was laying there, and I had a sick day. I was sick, and she came up behind the couch. She didn't even come up to me face to face, and handed me this book and said, "If you've got any questions, let me know," and walked away. And I'm like, oh my God, like the awkwardness. And that's been a massive thing in my life, I'm afraid of awkwardness because I've been given awkwardness as a gift from my parents. You know, and there were not many pictures, and, you know, I was in primary school. I think maybe there was a, you know, where do I come from talk coming up where you had to go take your parents to school. And I think there was a bit of a rush on, you know, or we haven't said anything about sex. And so I was very naive. I wasn't like my daughter, I'm pretty sure in this day and age would know about sex even if I didn't tell her. Whereas back then we went to a Catholic school. You didn't speak about anything. I didn't know what an erection was or a penis or, you know, nothing. I didn't know about masturbation or anything. So, you know, stumbling forward into like my relationships when I was 16, oh my God, I don't even want to just kill me now, you know?
Yeah.
It's like, where's his penis? You go to touch his penis for the first time in the movies over the jeans. Sorry, Stuart. and you just go, where is it? It's like, it's up to the right. It's like, how did it get up there? Why isn't it like just in his jocks? And that's the thing. I had no education. I didn't know what an erection was. I'm like, what is that? Yeah, embarrassing.
Oh my God, so good. Where's his penis? Oh, classic.
Where's it gone? Why isn't it between his legs? Yeah. It's gone for a little crawl up the body, you know, in the jeans.
Oh my God. I remember those moments of just like it's so fucking, penises are wild when you don't know what, like I remember learning about, like the dick goes in the vag, and I was like, hang on a second, like, come on, mate. You can't tell me that soft little thing manages to get big and hard and actually fucking, like, I just could not wrap my head around it when we learned about it in school. And then when I first came to actually coming across a dick or an erection, I was like, what the fuck? I can't believe this shit. It's so fascinating, but also tricky to kind of, you felt like such an idiot and you felt so like awkward and like
awkward.
Yeah, because you're just fishing around, you're like, oh my God, and then, you know, they've tucked it up into their waistband and it's like, what?
Oh, lucky boy. It's like, what is this thing? Does it hurt? Like, you know, and that's the same because all you've got as a point of reference is your brother or your dad if you've seen, you know, stuff at home, and you can't associate that with anything sexual because it's just weird and wrong. And so, you know, what the erections were just like, what? And because we were at a Catholic school, we only ever talked about reproduction, and any of the suggestions that got put in the box got ripped up and thrown away because, you know, we weren't even allowed to talk about contraception in Catholic schools. So we had no idea, you know, we knew there was a banana and there was a condom, and it was like, no, so the awkwardness led to lack of skills and lack of confidence, and oh my God, like how I just fumbled my way through. And it's quite funny that I do what I do now. because of my past, you know. There's so many stories, but anyway.
Well, while we're on the topic of
flashbacks and
oh, me
erections.
too. I know it's bizarre that I do what I do now, but I guess that's exactly why. You know,
it's so funny.
Yeah,
it
while
is.
we're on the topic of erections, why don't we talk about ejaculation? Because I want to know, like, what your thoughts are on ejaculation. How often is it actually healthy to be jizzing? Because if you're watching a lot of porn and you're masturbating to that porn, you're probably blowing your load like fuckloads of, like, a lot more than your body really wants to be. And we talked in the last episode about how that can be really depleting energetically, hormonally, nutritionally. So yeah, what's a healthy amount to be ejaculating?
So the end goal or the biggest outcome is that you become a sex god, right? And that's why my 90-day program, which isn't running at the moment, is called Awaken Your Sex God, because we want the outcomes or the goals are full body orgasms at the bare minimum, multiple orgasms, and orgasm without ejaculation, right? So that by definition is called semen retention. And there's a lot of misinformation out there about NoFap and semen retention. People think that semen retention is NoFap, that you actually don't masturbate, you don't orgasm, you don't ejaculate, and some of them aren't even having sex, right? And they call that semen retention, which is incorrect. So the Taoist and the tantric ways of where this is stemmed from, the old Sanskrit stuff and the Kama Sutra and all that, is semen retention is learning how to have an orgasm without ejaculation. Therefore, you can have multiple orgasms without losing your erection, and you're not depleting yourself. And most men, or all men, I should say, will know what we call the ejaculation hangover. So it's the post-ejaculation feeling. The guy will roll over and go to sleep, and you might be just laying there like, how is he asleep right now? 5 minutes after, you know, you're fully charged sexually, and he's gone to sleep. Guys will often call masturbation, you know, stress relief, tension relief. Relief normally goes, you know, stress relief. It's all about releasing that tension in the body, I guess. So it's called the ejaculation hangover for a reason, because your nuts have gone into overdrive because you just lost a million gazillion sperm. And so they're like, oh shit, we've got to make some more, right? Because your nuts don't just lay there and go, oh, we're tired as well, right? They're like, oh shit, we just lost a load. We've got to get moving, right? And
action
so
stations.
It's like a manufacturing, action stations, quick. And so, you know, when you first get a cold at that first day, and people all know this, that you feel like you've been hit by a bowling ball or a truck, your glands and your throat, and you're like, oh no, I'm getting sick, and you're like super tired and heavy. That's the thymus shutting the body down to get ready to fight the bacteria or the virus or whatever that's come on board, right? So it's actually your thymus that shuts you down and makes you feel that way. And the nuts do the same thing. So the nuts shut you down energetically because they require energy to produce sperm. We're all made up of energy. It's all atoms and quantum physics and all the stuff. So this isn't woo-woo. It's the nuts need energy to produce more sperm. So that's the shutdown feeling that you get in your body. The other thing that's happened is you've lost your chi. Your chi is your life force energy. Chi flows through meridians and organs and glands and chakras throughout the body. I'm a kinesiologist, so we work with that a lot, and it's very much based on Chinese medicine. So you've got energy in bodily fluids, right? And so when you lose semen, you lose bodily fluids, you lose energy, you lose chi. And chi is also responsible for sexual energy. So, and we call that Kundalini energy. So if you are tired, super tired, like you're unwell, or you're on cold and flu meds, or you've been on ice for 3 days straight, you won't be able to have a proper orgasm because your body is really, really tired, and you're depleted in chi because your body's trying to fight something, or you've been up for 3 days, or, you know, whatever, right? So we're not superhuman. We've only got a certain amount of energy that is in the body at any given time. And so when you ejaculate, you lose your chi, but you also lose vital nutrients and minerals, which are just so depleting. So you lose up to half your daily zinc every time you ejaculate. I'm just going to just drop that there, right? Zinc is the number one mineral for men. It keeps everything healthy. It keeps your immune system running. It's how you produce testosterone. If you don't have zinc in your body, you won't be producing enough testosterone. Testosterone is responsible for all the man stuff: hair, nails, skin, moods, muscle mass, producing sperm, fertility, all of the reproductive functions. If you don't have enough testosterone, you'll be going bald, you'll have greasy skin. So all of these guys that are porn addicts, let's say, by definition, will have a zinc deficiency. And this is where I come in on a different level to what like a porn addiction coach or something would come in. Because when they sit down in front of me now, I say, are you on zinc? No, why not? It's like, what do you mean? I'm like, okay, well, this is what it does. You need to take 50 milligrams every single day for the rest of your life as a man, right? And especially at the moment, I'm not going to mention the C or V words, but, if you want to look after your immune system, get on zinc. Okay, so the other thing that they're losing trace amounts of when they ejaculate is selenium. Selenium keeps the prostate healthy. So all the urologists and the doctors who keep telling men to ejaculate at least 21 times a month because it keeps the pipes clean and blah, 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 is based on a study that was done many, many years ago that I've completely poked holes through in my book. It doesn't make any sense to me. Cleaning out the pipes, you don't need to ejaculate to have an orgasm. It doesn't happen naturally. We do have to train you how to do that because you've trained yourself to have both at the same time. But when we start to separate those two processes out, you avoid all this depletion. And so selenium keeps the prostate healthy and you're losing it every time you ejaculate. The other thing is when you're producing too much oxytocin in the body, you're creating problems for your prostate as well. So, so ejaculation is not, regular ejaculation is not healthy for you. Now, the other question we always get asked is, what about sex versus masturbation, right? It's like, ooh, okay. So that's adding a different variable. With my clients, I recommend only ejaculating once a week. They can masturbate every day, but they can only ejaculate once a week. Even that is, pushing it. Once a fortnight would be ideal. But then when we go to the once a month, it's like, are they only masturbating once a month? Because then we want them to actually self-pleasure more often. So we say weekly or fortnightly, just once. And then when it comes to sex, that also depletes you exactly the same way. And so this is where the sex god stuff comes in. Why wouldn't you want to be a sex god and learn how to have multiple orgasms without ejaculation? And so you won't have erection issues and you won't lose your chi and your minerals and your nutrients. Right? And then guys always say, what about, it's healthy to ejaculate like at least once a month. I think it's 13 days that a man's semen will start to go back into the urinary system if he hasn't ejaculated. That's when guys start to have what they call wet dreams. If they haven't ejaculated in 13 days. That's the technical thing, but they're all afraid that it's going back into their bodies and it's causing mayhem, right? Your balls won't produce more sperm if there's no requirement.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So it's not like your bladder then has a whole lot of semen in it, but you will urinate it out. It's no big deal. So it's just overcoming those belief systems and understanding the science and the nutrition behind this, because we want our men healthier.
Yeah.
So you've got the brain function, the erectile dysfunction, the depletion in energy. Like, why would you want to do this? Why would you want to do this to yourself?
Yeah, totally. And it is, I think a lot of the time people use it as a bit of a sleeping pill because it does, as you said, the release, but also it releases prolactin, which makes them sleepy. And, I think there's also this, it's almost like we're so hyper aroused and we're in that sympathetic activation of the nervous system all the time that we can't relax. So then we have to have these vices like alcohol or drugs or ejaculation in order to relax. And it's not even winding down. It's more just snuffing your energy out to the point where you can then go to sleep. So I guess it's all about habits and lifestyle and taking a holistic approach. But it does, I feel like it can feel so overwhelming and there's just so many factors and it's this big thing that just, is shrouded in shame and taboo, and I guess it's a complex thing, so it can feel a bit like pretty massive to start trying to tackle it. And when you're already in this like cycle that's just quite easy and it's habitual, how the fuck do we where do you start? Like, where do you actually start tackling this with men, erectile dysfunction, porn addiction? Like, what's the first step to healing when someone comes for help?
Yeah. So the good news is we start to see a difference, and there's various differences that we see, and look at the other variables like erections returning, just easier to concentrate, more energy, and that starts to happen within a 2-week period. So it's actually not all doom and gloom. It's just you have to decide that you want to do the work, because there is work required. This isn't just, oh, okay, guys, stop watching porn. It's not good for you. We've got for every problem, like you say, people are self-soothing and using it as a pill to get to sleep. Well, we address that. So I give you something to yoga nidra meditation for insomnia, and we get you to not only fall asleep easier, but connect to your own body. Because it goes first finger, second finger, third finger, fourth finger. And so instead of thinking about stuff, you're thinking about your body, which then helps me help you when you come in and see me, because you're connecting your brain to your body. It's that connection that's missing. So 2 weeks is the golden number, and that's why I've got a thing called the 2-week challenge, and we're going to give that away for free today to anyone listening, it's normally $17, and you can find it on my website if you want to go there and purchase it. But I'm giving it to you guys for free because a lot can happen in 2 weeks, but it's not just off you go and see what you can do for 2 weeks. And it's a strict guidelines that you need to follow. It comes with a 35-page ebook, and it's pulled all the gold out of my current book, my new book, and it talks about breath work, arousal system, limbic system, the 5 senses, closing your eyes, making yourself comfortable, like there's 13 steps. And we go into it in great detail, and then there's one page where it's just a checklist, so you don't have to be like flicking through pages going, what am I meant to be doing now? Right? And it's strict timing, so you do it for 10 minutes every second day. Then the second week you do nothing, and we just see what's gone on from that first week. Has it generated sexual energy? Do you feel tired? Like, which way has this swung you? What's happening with your erections? What's happening with your emotions? And so there's a tracking sheet that goes with this. Right? So this is your first step into, if you're just listening and you're like, what's this about? I don't really believe you, blah, blah, blah. That's why it's called the 2-week challenge. And that's why it's available online, because I had thousands of men contacting me saying, yeah, it was fine. And I said, was it fine? Or did you just go home and have a wank? And they're like, well, yeah, I kind of followed it. And I'm like, yeah, so did you get the pillow underneath? Did you do the breath work? Did you close your eyes? Did you use essential oils? Did you do all oh no, I didn't do any of that. It's like, did you do it for 10 minutes? I got to like 8, and I'm like, well, you didn't do anything. You didn't do the exercise as it's meant to be. And so it's called a challenge for reasons, because it's going to bring up all of the resistance, all of the inadequacies, all of the frustration, and guys come back saying, I couldn't get an erection because I had to breathe. I'm like, just say that again to me. They're like, what? Because men are holding their breath in sex. Right? That's another a sign that he has a porn addiction. So he's holding tension in his ass. So he's flexing his bum cheeks all the time, and he's also holding his breath. That's a sign of a porn addiction. He's trying to keep his erection up, and he's all in his head and stuff, right? Wow. A man that is in his body will relax his bum cheeks, and he'll be breathing, and you'll hear him like turned on or not turned on or whatever. So that's the 2-week challenge, which is amazing. And then the 30-day program that I run is mainly for men that can't get in to see me locally. And so I've got clients all over the world, and it's an extension of that 2-week program. So it's got 4 weeks of masturbation homework, but then I teach them Qigong. We do the yoga nidra, meditation. I teach them about microcosmic orbit, and they do a microcosmic orbit meditation, which is unlocking the sexual channels. So they're doing a sublimation breath. So they're doing exercises each week in that program to actually turn this on its head. They also get told about the zinc and the balance oil that we have, which helps them recover their brain from being overloaded and brutalized, and their poor dopamine receptors are worn out. And when your dopamine receptors are worn out, life will be very boring. Sex will be vanilla. You'll feel agitated and stuff, and you just always, your poor brain's like looking for, please give me some excitement, and that's when you slip into, a lot of depression. So we've got products to help as well, and I've got essential oils that we use, and they get that recommendation of which ones to use for which issues they're having. And so that's all in the 30-day program. And if they come in, I'm in Carrum in Melbourne, and if they come in, they can do some body work with me. We can do kinesiology. I've got an amazing therapy called integrated massage therapy, and I'm the only one in the world doing it, which is really cool. And it derives both from Lomi and tantric work, but it's programmed especially for porn addiction. So they'll feel like I'm massaging their leg when I'm running the anxiety out of their bladder meridian. They'll feel like I'm going up the side of their thigh, and that's like, well, no, that's a bit tight. And I'm like, yeah, well, that's your bladder, gallbladder. Your gallbladder is all about impotence and frustration. And they're like, oh. So I just tell them there's no talking, and I just do what I'm doing because I've programmed it a certain way. And when we activate Kundalini, which is what we do in this treatment, their body starts to move and shake. And it's like a quantum wave moves through their body. And when we activate Kundalini, they don't feel like watching porn ever again. It's just this amazing phenomenon that we can't say it's the cure, of course, because that's a no, don't go there word. But they say, I just didn't feel like watching porn. I didn't feel like masturbating. It's a miracle cure. What have you done? This is amazing. And I'm like, just hang in there, mate. You've only had one session. Because after about 6 to 8 weeks, through monitoring and research, it starts to, wear off, and their life starts to get stressful again, and they start to feel, because they haven't done the work and they haven't done the homework. Everyone gets masturbation homework from me. You have to do the work in between, and it's masturbation homework. It's not that hard, So pardon the pun. So it's really important that they understand that when we activate Kundalini, it's your core sexual energy that runs up your spine. It bypasses it. That's your actual sexual energy. So men talk to me about sex drive, and I'm like, so your sex drive is your porn addicted brain, which is addicted to chemicals and hormones, and your eyes, and you're calling that your sex drive, your eyes and your brain that's addicted to the drugs. And they're like, oh shit. And I'm like, yeah, so sexual energy is your 5 senses, your limbic system, your arousal senses. It then gets the Kundalini going and the sexual energy and the chi in the body, and then the organs are all playing in the energy as well. Then you might get blood flow. Then you get an erection. Guess what? That's called sexual energy. And we get you out of what's called masturbation, and we put you in conscious self-pleasure. We get you out of, sex drive, and we put you in sexual energy. So we're training you the whole time to become a sex god and become more sexual, more connected, more alive, more intuitive, being able to communicate better. Everything will start to change once your Kundalini activates. And, I've had men in their 80s stand at my front door and just turn to me and say, I cannot believe this has been on this planet, and I haven't even heard of it. And I'm like, well, it's never too late. It's the most rewarding job on the planet, what I do. It's full of shame and gloom, but when you start to see that happen even on first session, it's like, I'm like, woo, fist pumping, and I feel amazing. I love what I do. So
yeah, cool. Epic. And I'd imagine that, it's a combination of all of those things you're doing, but also just the act of someone coming and seeking out help, admitting that they have an issue with this and confiding in someone will just mean that they're feeling less alone, they're feeling less isolated once they've told someone, and they've got that accountability of working with you.
Yes.
And, because otherwise it's just this thing that we're kind of struggling with alone and not feeling like, it's a double life basically. And I think that comes into, that's, why I find my work so rewarding as well, because so much of the juice is actually when someone's just like, holy fuck, I've just never told anyone this, or I've never felt comfortable actually talking about this. And just the act of having someone else to discuss things with and talk to about it that isn't going to judge you, isn't going to shame you, that's just got some great, fascinating educational info for you. They're rooting for you. They're like your biggest fan and cheerleader. they're holding your hand through the
Yeah.
process. Like, that's so invaluable, and just releases so much of the, I guess, like
So much.
shame, like the need to like keep it behind closed doors or sweep it under the rug or just kind of, suffer in silence over this thing because, it's not talked about and you don't feel like it would be.
Yeah, and it's very often associated with sexual abuse as well. You see that very common in men. And a lot of them say they've never even spoken about it to anyone. I'm the first person that they tell, and I've made it easy for them. I don't ask them any questions. It's just a form they fill out. There's a section on that particular issue, and everything I need to know is there. I don't need to go into the story. We don't need to re-traumatize anyone. My form is about 6 or 7 pages long because men either won't talk or they talk too much. And when they talk too much, they're in their story and they're just re-traumatizing themselves and telling me all the bullshit and whatever. And I'm like, I don't care about your wife. She's not here. Let's just go back to the facts, right?
Yeah.
And so when I extract the information I need from that epic form, they just sit there and they hand the form over and they go, holy shit. And I'm like, it prepares them for what's about to come. And they didn't even have to say anything out aloud, and they're like, oh my God, my doctor, I don't even tell my doctor this stuff. And I'm like, it's okay. It's okay. And they often say, or say things along the lines of that they're the only ones. And I'm like, it's you and every other guy. Right.
Yeah.
And so when I start to tell them the stats that it's over 90% of men, like, what? And then these men start actually having brave conversations with their mates about it. And I've got even a 20-year-old that started reading my book, and his feedback was like, oh, once you see it, you can't unsee it. Now I see it all in my friends, and now I want to help them. And he's only 20, and I'm like, this is amazing. So now they're all having a conversation because there's a book. And you don't have to say that it's me. You just say, I read this book or I watched this video or there's this chick online. You can disassociate from it if you need to talk about it with people. And now I'm getting referrals. After 8 or 9 years of doing this full time, I have not had one referral that I'm aware of until now. And the men are starting to send each other. I've got groups of men, and they keep talking about each other. And it's amazing, they're sending guys from work. The guys from work are coming.
Epic. Those conversations are happening. Yeah. That's incredible. Because I have like
stats.
To a lesser degree because, sex and any kind of issues around that are pretty, not always spoken about. Depends on the person. But I've got a similar kind of thing that goes on where like often it's not referral based. It's people Googling and seeking out help for something that they don't want to talk to about anyone else and don't want to admit.
To ask someone. Yeah.
But then like slowly, it started opening up, and often clients will have a few sessions and eventually be like, oh my God, I think I'm going to tell my friends about this because it's awkward and it's embarrassing and we don't talk about this stuff, but I know she would benefit from this, or I really just want to start opening up a dialogue so that not all of us are just suffering in silence alone and feeling like we're the only ones, but in actual fact, like everyone, and that I hear that a lot. Like I feel alone, and that's why it's part of my fucking jingle is like, you're not broken, you're totally normal, you're not alone in this. These are the conversations we need to be having so that everyone can realize that all this shit is actually so much more common. Doesn't mean it's great. Unfortunately, it's common, but it is, and therefore, silver lining, you're not the only one experiencing it. And the more we talk about it and normalize conversations about it, the less power it has over us and the more we can actually take action to start figuring it out for ourselves.
And this is the funny thing is people want to be normal, right? And I hate the word normal. We don't use it. It's like a swear word. And there's no such thing as normal, right? But if we want to look at it, it's normal to watch porn because the stats are so high, right? So if you want to be normal, that's go ahead and watch porn. But if you want to be a sex god, come and see me. Like what are you doing? And if you want to, the women are enabling the guys as well because they're not saying anything. So just have a look at the other side or the other flip side of this coin of if you're staying quiet about it because you're uncomfortable and whatever, you're actually doing your relationship a disservice. And if you're keeping it quiet, then the same thing. So it's like, let's just, it's like I said, when I go to a bar and it gets to 1 a.m. and everyone's drunk and I start having, it's the D&M hour, I just have people all around me, women and men, and the men stand there and it's so funny. They laugh. And they go, oh, and they got their drink in their mouth most of the time because they're like, what the fuck is she saying, And I'm just letting all the stats fly, and I can tell you're watching porn, and they laugh, and it's a bit funny. And so you have to kind of have that approach when you do what I do, especially as a woman. I swear, we just get down and dirty and we just open it right up, because then people start talking about it. Then guess what happens? You planted a seed, they go home and they might say to that, they might text their mate, was with that chick talking about porn and stuff, right? So guess what happens? They start talking about porn, and then they start talking. So you're just planting seeds, and that's my job. That's my purpose as a starseed on this planet, is to drop all of the Hansel and Gretel bread. And you can all just walk behind me and pick it up. You can pick up whatever you like or not at all. It's up to you. I'm not here to slam it down your throat, but I'm dropping crumbs for people to pick up. And the only thing that's going to happen to you, the worst fear that they have is, I don't know, it's all rational fears and stuff. But the best thing that can happen to you is that you have an amazing, life-changing, enlightening experience that changes your life and your relationships and your kids. It's legacy. We're dealing with legacy here. If you've got a porn addiction, how do you expect to talk to about your daughter about porn addiction, boundaries and consent? Like, how do you do that? That's a whole other conversation.
Yeah, totally. I was hoping to get to the discussing it with your kids part, but I feel like that could be a whole episode itself. So maybe we'll
just start talking.
Just have the conversations and have them regularly, and take take the questions on
Educate
that your
yourself.
kids bring to you. Yeah. And I mean, I have done an episode in the early days about sex positive parenting and how to create like a sort of shame-free environment for your kids, and having conversations about sex and bodies and periods. And I feel like, porn is just, you could listen to that episode. It's with Carlin Digitalis, and we talk about some strategies for having these convos with your kids. And a lot of what we talk about is like, well, you kind of got to do the work yourself so that you're comfortable to have these conversations.
How are you meant to talk to them about it if you know nothing about it?
Yeah.
If you're not giving sex education, it's because you don't know anything about sex. I'm convinced that's my mum.
Yeah, totally.
Do get the free ebooks, do the homework and have some aha moment. And then, and then spring it on your kids.
Yeah. And you just feel so much more equipped to like go and spring it on your kids if you have like done a bit of your own research and learned some stuff yourself. And then you'll probably be like, wow, this is really interesting. I'm so glad I'm now equipped with this knowledge. I want to go share it with my child.
Exactly.
Yeah. But just before we wrap up, I want to do the segment TMI. We love it because we didn't do it in the last episode. We just got spitballing and totally carried away with the conversation and ran out of time. So are you ready for TMI?
TMI, we love it. TMI, we love it.
Oh my God, I don't know what. Yes. Okay.
So have you got a story for us that would usually be considered too much information to share in a public forum or on a podcast episode?
Have I got stories?
I bet.
Okay. One that's popped into my head. Okay. Oh my God. So like I was saying to you before, ladies, that if a guy is dry humping the air and you're not even having sex, then hands down he has a porn addiction, right? And so I met this guy and we went on a few dates, and I take my time when it comes to getting intimate with someone. I'm all for pashing on the couch for hours and hours on end and whatever, and just reading body language, getting used to know energy, all that stuff. Oh my God, my family's going to kill me. Anyway. When I was with this man for the first time, and I like to explore bodies, and so I'm exploring his body and the clothes are slowly coming off, I'm doing the sensual touch and everything. He's like, with his bum, right? So he's like flexing. He's going to kill me if he knows it's him. Flexing his bum, right? And I'm like, oh, we've got a live one here, right? So, and I try not to be a practitioner while I'm with someone, right? I just leave that, if they want to go onto my website, go for your life, but I'm not going to talk to you while I'm having sex with you, right? So I'm going down, and I can feel this. He nearly knocked me out with this clenching, and I just said, just relax. And I just put my hand on it, like, the sacral area. Just relax. Just calm down. Just like pretend there's a pole going through the middle of it. And he couldn't. And he was just like flex. And I'm like, whoa. I said, you need to, like, are you having sex without me right now? Because I don't understand what's going on. So anyway, we talked about it later on, and I said to him, you watch a lot of porn, don't you? That's when I knew. And he said, yeah, it's like 3 times a day. And I'm like, yeah, mate, you need to calm that down. And so that's yeah. I have so many stories like that, which I swore I would never say on air. Because I don't like to talk about my sex life, because I already get, sexual harassment and stuff. And, if my cleavage is even showing in a video, I get harassed. And, it's like, oh, I don't even want to, but I've gone there. So, yeah, that's too much information for him.
Thank you. I'm glad that this podcast made you feel safe enough to share something you wouldn't normally. Yeah. That's kind of the idea. And yeah, so interesting. I had no idea that the butt clenching was such a telltale sign of porn addiction. And I remember when I was younger and sort of having casual hookups or like meeting new people a little bit more frequently, and coming across some of those sort of like really rock hard buttocks, dry humping kind of vibes, but I didn't know.
Pounding.
Yeah. Are you having sex without me?
Yeah, and you see it in the older guys. I've had to stop a couple of sessions because I think they're actually about to have a heart attack, because they've turned into a concrete block. Their whole body's like in tension, and that's why my massage has now become like, you cannot clench your bum even once. And when they do, I'm like, relax your bum. And it gets quite funny because they're like, oh my God, I can't even like stop myself. And it's like, I've got a taser gun. Right. And if you don't start relaxing your bum, they're like, I don't even know I was doing it. And they do it in masturbation, and they do it in sex. So girls, look out for the bum clenchers. They're your porn addicts, or not necessarily. They could just be masturbating that way, and they could have erection issues, but it's normally associated with porn and erection issues because they're simulating sex. They're grinding and they're bumping, and so when they do my homework, they have to lay there still, and the pillow has to go under their knees, and they have to, we call it a starfish position, starfish on purpose. Yeah. And they have to lay there and receive what they're doing to themselves, and they're like crickets, like they're like so bored. Yeah. Because anyway, that's too much information for me. So.
Love it. Thank you.
Beautiful. Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, pleasure. What a convo. I'm going to wrap it up there because I know we've already gone over time, as I can't seem to help but do. It's just maybe this podcast is just destined to be very long form. But before we wrap up, I'll just mention the Facebook group, the Labia Lounge Facebook group. You can join that. I'm going to put in that 2-week challenge that Catherine's giving you all for free in the group so that you can access that there. And yeah, I mean, there's also my latest merch. I've got face masks, I've got fanny packs, I've got bathing suits. I went a bit nuts, got a bit carried away on the merch front, but if you want to support me or the podcast, because it isn't, it's not free to be putting this out, I definitely appreciate any support in whatever shape or form. But if you wanted to financially support, you can donate to my Buy Me a Coffee page, which I actually like to call Buy Me a Soy Chai Latte, because I'm a bit of a Melbourne coffee tosser like that. And you can do a once-off donation there or an ongoing membership and sponsor me for as little as 3 fat ones a month, which is pretty chill. That is less than a soy chai latte, especially in Melbourne. And yeah, every bit helps. It is a bit of an expense out of my own pocket to put out this sweet ass podcast, and I will be undyingly grateful if you support me in that way. But also, don't sweat it if you can't, I'm still just giving you a mental BJ in my mind from the lounge because you're listening to this podcast and, at this early stage in double L history. So that's all I've got to say on that. I'll put all the links, all the relevant links in the show notes. And yeah, thank you so much, Catherine. It's been a fucking pleasure.
Okay. If anyone wants to get in contact with me, just go to integratedmenshealth.com.au and you can message me through the website.
Yeah, fabulous. I'll put the link in the show notes and the Facebook group. And yeah, you can also get in touch and follow Catherine on Insta. She puts up lots of content on there. And yeah, YouTube. I mean, you've got so many resources online, so many free resources. So you'd be crazy not to go and just have a little dig around and learn something new. Yeah, love it. And just one last parting message. I just want to reiterate, like, everyone is affected by porn, whether it's you using it or a partner or a lover using it. It's quite common. It is designed to be addictive. So don't be ashamed if you've fallen into this trap, because it gets to the best of us and you are not alone. And I'm just hoping these conversations and resources have helped and might be a catalyst for change if needed. You got this. You fucking got this. And yeah, reach out to one of us if you need further support or guidance. Thanks, everyone.
Beautiful. Thanks, everyone.
Bye.
And that's it, darling hearts. Thank you for stopping by the Labia Lounge. Your bum groove in the couch will be right where you left it, just waiting for you to sink back in for some more double L action next time. And in the meantime, if you'd be a dear and subscribe, share this episode, or leave a review on iTunes, then you can pat yourself on the snatch, because that, my dear, is a downright act of sex-positive feminist activism. And you'd be supporting my vision to educate, empower, demystify, and destigmatize with this here podcast. Also, I'm always open to feedback, topic ideas that you'd love to hear covered, or guest suggestions. So feel free to get in touch via my website at freyagraph.com or say hey over on Insta. My handle is Freya_graph_YMT, and I seriously hope you're following me on there, because damn, we have fun. We have fun. Anyway, later labial legends. I'll see you next time.